Hi everyone, good evening. Hi Sony, Sri Nagesh, hi, how are you? Welcome. How are you doing? Can you see the video now? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Please say yes in the comment if you can hear me or see me on your screen now. Alright, you can see now, great. Now I can see you, Divya. Okay. I am Sonia, but you will be seeing Divya very soon. She'll be joining us shortly. Hi Pramod, hello everyone. Welcome to the Knowledge Happy Hour Season 2 and Episode 7. Just waiting for a few more people to join in today. Hi Anita, how are you? Thank you for joining. Good evening. And all the people who are joining us today from Mumbai, I hope you are all keeping safe and at least in this part of the city, in the suburbs in the Mumbai city, the cyclone has not hit us that bad, but I know some parts it is really worse. So Navi Mumbai, I know it has been really intense. So hope everyone is keeping safe and in the safety and comforts of their house. Don't step out, although we have been doing that. It's not pretty tough for us. All cool in Malad. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Hi Nidhi. Hello. Thank you for joining. So, you know that we meet for Knowledge Happy Hour. Knowledge Happy Hour is an initiative started by Indian School of Image Management in the month of April. On 1st April, we started this initiative, and the objective was just simply sharing knowledge. No sign-ups, no database, no collecting information, no fees, no payment, just free learning. That's the whole objective of Knowledge Happy Hour. We want to just share pure learning with everyone out here so that we can just maybe we all can just take advantage of it, learn something new, and maybe take something back from all these small sessions. So that was the initiative and the objective, and we had a fantastic season one. It was pretty intense, and I had such an amazing response from all our participants. We did it every single day, but today now we are in season 2, and season 2 is where we are meeting once a week every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. And I'm your usual host, Sonia Dubey Devan. I'm the founder and managing partner of Indian School of Image Management, and I try to bring a new speaker to you every single time. So today is also one of those days when I bring to you a new speaker. So can I have my guest for today? Divya, are you there?
Hi Soumya.
Hi Divya, welcome to the Knowledge Happy Hour, and it's so good to have you here with us today.
Yes, it's a wonderful thing.
So all my viewers who don't know Divya, some of you would know, but those who don't know Divya, quick introduction of Divya. Divya M is the founder of Divya's Happiness Hive. She's a leading practicing clinical psychologist, a graphologist, which is handwriting analyst, a mind coach, mentor, and trainer from Bangalore. She holds a master degree in psychology. She's a gold medalist in clinical psychology and rank holder from Bangalore University. And she has carved a niche in the areas of creating dynamic and mentally stimulating training and results to the participants through her highly interactive, insightful methodologies. She's frequently invited by TV channels for debates and panel discussion concerning psychology and other behavioral issues as experts. So that's Divya M, and she will be talking about today. Um, about graphology, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? How personality traits can be analyzed through handwriting. So that's what Divya is going to talk about. Without further ado, Divya, welcome to our show, Knowledge Happy Hour, and over to you.
Yeah, Sonia, that is it's actually a interesting topic, graphology, and I think not many people are aware of it. And
Yes.
per se, psychology is only something which not many people are not aware of. We all have heard about it, but we don't know much about what psychology is about. And then, although nowadays it is becoming a buzzword, so
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting to know about more about ourselves because human personality is 90% subconscious. Only 10% is a conscious personality, which we are very much aware of ourselves. Very in a very clear way.
Right.
So, handwriting analysis is one way of getting an access into the subconscious mind of a human being so that we are able to better answer their questions about themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, that is really interesting, and from an even most of our viewers are image consultants. So from that perspective, this is really interesting, and we all are looking forward to what all you're going to share with us today. So yes, means I think we are all ears, and please go ahead. If you have a presentation or if you're going to talk to us about it, please share with us. I think the viewers are eagerly waiting to listen to you.
No, I don't have any presentation as such, so I thought
Mm-hmm.
I will give a very brief introduction about what human personality is, what is consciousness, and what do I mean by when I say handwriting is we are able to use it as a tool to access the subconscious mind. I thought
Right.
I'll give them a brief about what is all these concepts because for a person who is hearing for the first time, it might sound really very vague, like what are they even talking about, kind of a thing.
True.
So, because I think so, there was a time when all these terms were, only thought about when a person is into spirituality, only they talk about consciousness and other stuff. But otherwise, I think now it's the time we have to make it more mainstream.
True. Absolutely.
Yes.
That is very true.
But I think to make it very convenient, I would like to use my dairy so that I can do certain demonstrations over there about handwriting and then how it works.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and also, if there are any questions, I can take it up by the end of the session.
Sure, definitely. That's how we go. But yeah, towards the end, we can just go through the comments and see if there are any questions. And I certainly have a lot of questions already in my mind. I hope, I'm sure you will be answering all those and taking care of those in your session.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm more interested in that.
All right, let's get started then, I guess.
Yeah. So, like, I think a very common concept, psychology is the study of human behavior and the personality traits. It's a basically a permutation and combination of the various traits. Like most human beings, we are going to be almost similar on many bases and also different on many bases because we are nothing but a combination of the traits and the behaviors, and then obviously we are a product of genetic as well as environment. So there are certain behavior patterns which are inherited from one generation to another generation, that is from our parents to us, and there are certain characteristics which we learn because of the environmental influences we have. So, when I say environmental, it also means that whatever happens to us, that is the situations in our life, they make us what we are. So it's like, say for example, a person individual is 20 years. He is the product of the 20 years of experiences and interactions he has had with people all over that time. So when we talk about a human personality, we talk about conscious personality and subconscious personality and unconscious personality. So according to Carl Jung was a psychologist, and according to him, we are all connected through our unconscious personality. So that's how we there is uh, a part of us is connected, and then we have not even aware of what is there in our unconscious mind. So this is where it kind of gets difficult. Like a lot of times we don't have control on ourselves. Like a lot of times, especially if a person has loses their temper often. They also often wonder, like, I can't control myself. I don't know. I just go out of it, just happens out of how in an instinct, and then the repercussions is there for us to face. So in this is where handwriting comes into rescue, where the person is able to understand, okay, these are the behavioral traits I have, and then what do I do to keep it in check. Like when I say in check, it's more about being mindful. So if I know I'm a very aggressive person, or if I'm suppose somebody who is high on temper. See, when we say high on temper, it's all emotions, but because anger as negative, not negative, but because it has the repercussions, we always associate temper with anger. So if I'm able to identify whether I am high on temper or not, and if I have an easy method to do it, then what else can I ask for? Okay, so before that, I think I'll give you a very brief and in a very layman term about what consciousness, subconsciousness, and unconsciousness is all about. Okay, so like I said, I will use this one simple diagram to actually show what proper consciousness is. When I say what is it, consciousness is nothing but awareness. It's about knowing what I am, or who I am, and it's see, mostly consciousness. When we talk about it, we relate it to mind, and then also nowadays it's also about the soul thing. So it's just that when we talk about consciousness, we call it, like, if you can see this, yeah, it's just that a depiction of an iceberg, and
Right.
this tip of the iceberg is what the conscious personality is. So it's very little we know about ourselves, and then this vast area is the unconscious plus subconscious.
Okay.
So that is where the scope is large, that majority of our personality needs to be understood, wherein we need to put conscious effort to understanding it. It just doesn't happen until and unless you show an interest, or you put an effort to understand, okay, what is it there in my subconscious mind. And then it's like it's whatever it is you have experienced, and then it is all stored in your memory, and then that is how it impacts your personality and behavior, and that is how without your knowledge you react in a certain way to a particular situation. So that's how the subconscious mind becomes very important, because your behavior is the root of your behavior is coming from there. Like that, how you get habituated. Say for example, you're learning how to drive a car, and initially you're so conscious and you're so mindful, and then you're very careful, but then eventually you get used to it. So you don't have to be like, okay, where is the clutch, where is the brake, and you don't have to fiddle around, and you are able to do it like when you're simultaneously doing other work also, because that is where it's already there from your memory. And this is how the behavior also is stemming from your subconscious mind, and you don't have a conscious control over it. And when we talking about handwriting, it is almost like graphology is nothing but understanding the person's personality through the graph, that is the writing. So the scientific explanation is, okay, when we are writing, along with the signals which come from the brain, which flows through your hand, and then you write it on the paper, because your brain is also the seat of emotions and the personality and everything, that everything flows. Okay, so that's how if a person is trained and understanding how to identify the personality traits through the handwriting, the way they look at handwriting is different from how you or anybody else, just naturally how you look at it is going to be very different. So I usually use the stroke trait method. Obviously, there are a lot of methods like Gestalt method, stroke trait method, and a lot of that. When I say Gestalt, it means that see the principle of Gestalt that the whole is greater than the sum of its part. So if I can make a analysis based on the entire handwriting, then that is Gestalt, and then I use stroke trait method. That is, every stroke has a associated trait with it. So that's how we are able to identify a particular personality through a particular stroke. Am I audible?
Yes, Divya, you are, and we
Oh,
are
okay.
all
I saw my
attentively
internet
listening.
was buffering, so I just got this down.
No, no, no. You are absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And we are all listening. So I have also kept myself on mute so that you don't get any disturbance. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I will just talk about the briefs of handwriting, and with that, if we can introduce just a certain amount of specific traits to the viewers, they will get an understanding of how it will work, and then this will serve as a good background for our future, whatever we want to work around it. Okay, so when we talk about handwriting, it's like it's kind of a direct representation of there is a lot of symbolic representation. So in future, like when I'm talking about individual traits, I'll also give you how examples as to how in reality we see the letter, and then how the explanation stands for it. It has an direct correlation also, so it's very symbolic also, that I will talk about it. So just like we human beings have zones in our body, like even our handwriting has zones. So we call it as upper zone, middle zone, and lower zone. So any stroke which comes in the upper zone, say for example, I'll tell you with one letter. So we take the letter H, because see when I take the letter, this is H. So what goes above this
Divya, can you
loop
just make
is
it a
what
little
is.
bit bigger? Like, because it's just maybe if you can make it a little bit bigger. Yeah,
Yeah, this is
that's
good.
much better. Yeah.
So this is what is the upper zone.
Mm-hmm.
This is what is the middle zone.
Right,
So similarly, if I write a Y, what goes below is the lower zone.
right.
So it's just like the upper zone is the seat of intelligence, just like how it is in human being. The same applies here also. So in the upper zone, we usually see about knowledge, spirituality, intelligence, and so the strokes are usually related to that. And
Mm-hmm.
in the middle zone, we are talking about the things which are appropriate to the day-to-day life activities, like communication, reasoning, and lot of such learning style, and lot of such things will come in the middle zone. And the lower zone, it refers to the the it's health, relationship,
Okay.
and travel. So those are the basic things we see in the lower zone, because it also
Mm-hmm.
comes about the libido of an individual. When I talk of the libido, it's the physical energy, it's not only sexual energy. People often get confused that okay, libido stands for sexual energy, and then there is a lot of misconfusions that people always end up there have been times when I was overhearing the other day, like okay, the student knew very little about it, and then they talk, oh, the teacher has high libido, and then it's so inappropriate that goes into. So it
Right.
becomes very important for all of us to have such certain empathy, along with understanding that there is lot to understand more than that, what I know.
True,
Okay, so
true.
when I say libido, it means the aggression, the physical stamina which an individual has, the amount of energy they can get into an activity or task.
Right,
So with
right.
that, another basic concept we need to understand is, uh, see, whenever I write something,
Mm-hmm. So,
I
Divya,
write
just
my
before
name only.
before you go on to the next point, can you just revise those three areas once again that you just mentioned, that the upper
Yeah,
zone talks
yeah,
about is refers to this, and the lower zone talks
yeah.
about this.
So
Yeah.
you see this, right? So this is the upper zone,
Mm-hmm.
upper part of H, which goes
Yes.
above. So
Yeah.
that's the upper zone,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the seat of your intelligence, knowledge, spirituality, everything.
Okay.
This
Right.
is the middle zone. The middle
Right.
zone, uh, we refer to the mundane zone. The mundane zone refers to your daily activities of
Right.
included, like
Right.
communication, learning style, and reasoning, and all that.
Right.
And what goes below the
Right.
lower part, the Y which you see here, the this is called the lower zone, and it is mainly about health, relationships, and travel. I think
Right.
basically as psychologists, which is the basic area which we deal with is relationships, and lot of problems people come to us is in that area, be
Mm-hmm.
it
Correct.
anybody. I think when I say relationship, it is not only between a girl and a boy. So I'm
Right.
talking about with your spouse, with your parents, with your children, with anybody for that matter. Even with your boss you have a relationship, and a lot of times that is becoming a concern. And um, these times when there is a this rat race in corporate, I think nothing much has changed even today, even after with so much of awareness, nothing much has changed. So when I say relationships, so this zone becomes very important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Correct.
we have a lot of very simple strokes in that area which will directly give me clues that okay, this person is going through a certain problem. See, it gives us such so much of strong indications to us that even something as sensitive as okay, if a person is going through abuse, also we're able to understand, and that is when it gives us a warning. Okay, so this
Mm-hmm.
person needs help, and then we need to do something about it. This helps especially with students wherein where they're in a very vulnerable phase and they don't feel like opening up, and then
Right.
I have seen a lot of people when I have seen in their writing, and then we approach and then they deny, they don't want to
Right.
take help, because I think you don't have so much of maturity in that age that okay, yeah, I am suffering from some problem and then I need help.
Right.
So this is where it gives you, see, one thing what I feel that this has been of help to me is the subtle way which we are able to work with a person. Say for example, if I say I'm going to counsel somebody, they're not going to find it very appropriate, or
Mm-hmm.
they might not be very encouraging of it. But
Correct.
when we say, okay, I'm going to do your handwriting analysis, they become very comfortable. Okay, she is just trying to tell me what my personality is through my handwriting. So
Correct.
simultaneously, if counseling is also happening, then they will not actually feel that, because it is not happening in that proper way. So that's how I am able to get good results, especially the corporates. I have the majority of the corporate clients which I have. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when I mean that people who are working with corporates, so they find it very comfortable because uh, I take a lead and then I'm talking about their traits. They find it very comfortable. अभी कुछ नहीं बोलना है. Anyway, she is going to come and talk about it, because eventually they will understand. Okay, इसको सब पता चल रहा है. She's able to understand my personality through my handwriting. So that's how
Correct.
it gets comfortable. This is the added advantage which every counselor or anybody for that matter whom if you are trying to groom somebody, this is how it can help you make the other
Absolutely.
person get comfortable with you. Okay,
True. True.
so with this I was also talking about another basic concept, which is called as the baseline. The
Okay.
baseline is nothing but the imaginary line which uh, below the what you have written. So that's why when we're collecting sample from an individual, we take it on an unruled paper, because we want to see how the baseline is.
Hmm.
If you're going to
Okay.
write on a ruled paper, we call it as guided writing. Guided writing means we are not able to get to see how the baseline looks like, because the baseline gives us a lot of clue. And then I'm going to very briefly also tell the variety of baselines and what it means. I'm going to put it in very simple term, and then I'm in the next 2 to 3 minutes I'm going to sum it up. Is that fine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. Take your time.
So I just written my name here, if you can see
Mm-hmm.
Divya.
Yes.
So if I put a imaginary line below, that is
Mm-hmm.
what we call it as the baseline.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So now I'm going to talk about the types of baseline and then what they mean.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. So the first one is the ascending baseline. So you can see that it is slightly going upwards.
Right.
So it shows that a person who has an ascending baseline is
Mm-hmm.
optimistic. So
Right. Right.
they're looking forward to life. They're like, irrespective of however hopeless the situation is right now, they feel
Mm-hmm.
okay, tomorrow is going to be better.
Right.
And this is one of the traits which is very important for a person to be, uh, to be feeling fine with life, because the
Right.
opposite we say is, the second one,
Yeah.
it's the descending baseline
Descending.
boleto, it's going to steep downwards.
Downwards.
So if we see this with other trait, there are few
Mm-hmm.
other indicators of traits, then
Mm-hmm.
we say okay, the person is stressed or they are in depression.
Right.
I'll also tell you which one. It's like down slope and
Mm-hmm.
heavy pressure. When I say heavy
Right.
pressure, I'm going to talk about that just in a while. Okay,
Okay.
so that gives me a very clear indication that the person has something which is making him feel depressed. I then necessarily don't believe in labeling people, because I think that is where makes people get stuck with a particular concept. So if
Right.
somebody comes to me and I say you have depression, they're going to get stuck with it because they believe I'm an authority who I can tell them what they're going through,
Right.
and what I believe I become. So that's
Right.
why I don't give diagnosis to people. Although I'm a clinical psychologist, I don't give diagnosis to people. So that's how handwriting analysis becomes even more comfortable for me, because I don't have to
Right.
tell them, you have bipolar, you have this, you have that, because sometimes सदमा वही से पड़ता है आदमी को, because they're like
Right.
okay कुछ बोल दिया तो कुछ खराब है, like
Right.
something is wrong with my mind.
They get
So
stuck with it. They get
yeah,
stuck with it in their brain.
so the only thing is, I think I wish to tell the viewers that if you have a down slope, please check what is it that is with this bothering you and why you are feeling hopeless about life. It's nothing but a slight dip in your writing. You can see, just if you are not able to, if you write something and if you are not able to see it properly, just twist your book, and in this angle, if you see, you are able to clearly see how
Mm-hmm.
your handwriting is sloping.
Right.
Is it going like that or is it
Right.
coming down?
Down.
And that gives
Right.
you very clear picture of what you're going through.
Right.
So apart from that, when we have the third one, which is very common.
Mm-hmm.
So it's certain like wave kind of a thing. It's like
Right.
it looks like this. So it's not a
It
very
goes up
perfect
and down.
balance in the writing, but it goes like that. And this is a very common thing, that it shows that a person, irrespective of whatever ups and downs he goes through in life, he's still able to manage, and then
Mm-hmm.
he's in tune with life. Okay, so
Right.
this is one another form, and then another form is the perfect straight line. And the perfect straight line, forgive me the ending of it, so it's just
Right.
the straight line. So that means a kind of a person who is trying to walk a tight rope. You know how difficult it is to walk on a rope. So the same way the person is leading their life, they're trying to, like being get everything close to perfection, which is
Right.
not possible. Like in
Mm-hmm.
the urge of being a perfectionist, we often you waste a lot of time, either be it to learn or to actually do up new tasks. Okay, I have finished a particular, so say I'm doing an embroidery, and in the in the quest of getting it very perfect, I am doing it again and again instead of actually taking up multiple projects which I could have finished. So
Right.
this is where the perfectionist gets stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that is the four common baselines. There are some more which I think I will not keep it for the beginners. So this is the basis of the general orientation towards life. Like how they are overall, how they are approaching life. So that gives a very clear indication. So
Right.
with this, I would also want to talk about the three basic characteristics we see. It is very important, and then we see that before we go to the individual personality traits. Okay, before
Okay.
that we check this, and then we go to that. Okay, so now
Sure.
when I'm talking about this, usually people think handwriting has two dimensions
Okay.
because that is what is visible. But
Right.
along with the two dimensions, the third dimension is also there, that is the pressure of the writing.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
that's why the pressure becomes so important. We actually tell people when you're writing, write it on some 8 to 10 papers. Don't write it on a hard surface because at the back you need your pressure. So especially if you're trying to do this for yourself, after you, I mean, you can rewatch the live, and then if you're trying to do it for yourself,
Right.
make sure that while you're writing, you don't copy, write an essay of your own or ask somebody to dictate something to you. Usually I have one standard stanza I dictate to everybody because that particular stanza has all the letters, the basic
Right.
combinations of letters which we require. That stanza has everything, and then we dictate the same to
Right.
all of them. Okay,
Okay.
so this is the basic instructions we give them, and then the unruled page is very important and all that.
Right.
Okay, so the first one we're talking about is slant. The second
Mm-hmm.
one is the size, and the third
Okay.
is the pressure. Again, these
Okay.
things are very important. It gives you a lot of understanding about the particular individual, about what kind of an individual they are. And I
Mm-hmm.
always feel that if you know the basics of handwriting analysis, it can save you from a lot of trouble,
Mm-hmm.
because you can understand people around you, or if you have a challenging relationship with somebody, you can understand them, because a lot of times that is how we help couples understand each other. Say for example, a person is not expressive, so that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean they don't love you, but
Right.
their language of love is totally different. So
Right.
their language of love will look like, acha, you after you reach, you call me back. Did you
Mm-hmm.
take your lunch box? So this is the language of love they know. But if we are expecting something like very verbal, like okay, I'm expecting flowers and bouquets and chocolates, and then I'll be like, okay, he doesn't love me. So this is what is
Right.
happening in most relationships. So this is how we try to help them, that okay, this person is this, and this is how we are not they don't appear to be what you are expecting to. Okay,
Right.
so this is something you will understand. And these three things which I'm going to tell now have, and how much time do we have so that I can?
We have plenty time, Divya, so you can go on. We
Yeah.
have easily another 10 to 15 minutes. Will that be
Yeah,
sufficient?
decent,
Okay.
decent. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So we are
Yeah.
talking about now the size, the slant, and the pressure. The three
Pressure.
things.
Yes.
Okay.
So these are
All
the
right.
very basics which everybody should understand before they get into the traits. The traits
Sure.
is, every
Mm-hmm.
letter has a trait. So
Okay.
that's how it deals with. So before that, we're going to talk about the slant. So in
Mm-hmm.
everything there are types. So I'm going to tell you the types I'm going to explain. Okay. With the slant of the writing, when I say the slant, towards what direction is the letters bending? That is what we talking about, the slant. And with the slant, we try to understand the emotional expression of the individual, which becomes very important to understand what kind of an individual he is. So I think nowadays, more than IQ, people are more concerned about your EQ and SQ, because you have to work with people. So if you have to work with people and get good results, or if you have to have the cohesiveness, keep the group together, then EQ and SQ becomes very important. That is emotional quotient and social quotient. So to understand the emotional quotient, we need to understand the emotional expression of the individual. Okay, so when in slant, we have the basic four types. The first one is the vertical slant. When I say vertical slant, it is it is the 90 degree. Okay, so I'll also give you an example as to how it will look like. You are going to study the slant only in particular letters which will go in the middle zone and go up to the upper zone and come back to the middle zone. If that is why I explained zone in the beginning. So if we are writing L is a particular letter which goes up and then, oh, which goes up and
Divya,
comes down. Yeah.
I would suggest that take a fresh paper, and if you can just like make it a little bit bigger, so then we all
Okay.
can see it more clearly.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing on my big screen right now, so I'm still struggling. I don't know how the viewers on the phone would be able to see. Yeah, that would be much
Sounds
better.
good. So this is
Yes,
how a
yes,
L looks like, almost a 90-degree.
right. Okay.
Okay, so this is
Yes,
what we call it as the vertical slant. Vertical
vertical
slant
slant.
is 90 to 105 degrees. Obviously, we measure it. Initially, when we are learning, we draw an imaginary baseline and then we measure and then learn the slant of the individual. So
Right.
if your letters, when I say upper zone letters, it is like L, B, H, K. Preferably, you check it in these letters, not in other letters. So if this is how it looks like, then this is indication of a person who is not a very expressive person. They tend to keep all the emotions within themselves. They are not very expressive, and that is how people have difficulty in understanding what is going on in their mind. But
Right.
actually, with these kind of an individual, the outburst is going to be very severe because they're holding on to a lot of emotions within themselves. Say, for
Right.
example, they have a fight and then they go on and on and on. They are shouting, and then the person is left wondering, yeah, what happened. He's so triggered, and then
Right.
they don't understand that he's actually reacting for all the XYZ episodes. It's not
Right.
only about what happened on that particular day.
Right.
Why are they reacting is because they are holding on to it for a long period of time. Now they can't do it anymore.
Right.
So instead of that, if you are able to express every time, then you are going to save yourself the time and energy and also the other person. Otherwise,
Right.
it's going to be. This is why we say it's like the outburst is like a pressure cooker. They can't
Correct.
hold it on for a long period of time, and it has to come out some point of time.
Right.
So
Right.
nowadays, I think this is the category majority of the people are falling into because we have come to a phase where we feel what is the point of expressing and when people don't understand us or
Right.
everybody is so busy that nobody has time to spare for us. So somewhere eventually, we get hurt, we get cheated, we get rejected, and then we start keeping everything within ourselves. Then it gets bottled up. So this is where we talk about a lot about encouraging people about how they have to be expressing. So even if you find it very difficult to find somebody where you can confide with, this is where diary writing can come to your rescue. So I always tell people, if you're really scared, okay, somebody will read your diary and you have a lot of personal stuff there, write it and burn it off or tear it off, so that you it also helps in catharsis. We talk about the feeling of getting off the negative emotions within you. So that is a very it's also one of the kind of a therapeutic procedure, wherein you're actually literally seeing that your emotions are just going off, and then you feel lighthearted. So this is the one thing. If you're going through certain kind of a stress, if you think it is too early for you to approach a counselor or a therapist, this is one technique you can start following. So, for example, you have to get over a person, you have to get over a mishap which happened at your job. Write the whole incident in details and then tear it off. And then when you burn the paper, you also imagine that, okay, all your emotions which you had bottled up, it's also going away. So that's going to do a lot of good to people who definitely have not not comfortable talking with people. Obviously, people like me who like talking to people, then we are very comfortable. We always talk and we send it off simultaneously. We're actually sharing, okay, yeah, hua, hua, and a lot of my people are like, okay, my ears are, like paining. Can you stop talking? So until to that extent, but the one purpose is at least you have certain people who are ready to hear you out, and
Yeah.
that's why I always talk about investing in relationships. It becomes very important. We actually think investment is only in money and then property and all that, but then investing in people and then giving it time so that you nurture the kind of relationship, it becomes very important. Okay,
True.
so that is the vertical slant. Next is the slight right. And when I
Okay.
talk about the ideal conditions doesn't exist, but then we say it is healthy,
Mm-hmm.
healthy emotional control. That is the, I show it in this diagram only.
Mm-hmm.
This is the perpendicular.
Yeah.
So this is the slight right.
Okay.
Thoda right. So that is 105 to 120 degrees.
Okay.
So then that is slight right.
Mm-hmm.
And that is called the normal emotional control because these persons are expressive. I hope it is clear. And also write an
Yes.
L. Okay.
Okay.
So this is wow. The what first one is the vertical.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
Okay.
slight right. Okay.
Slight right.
So
Okay.
that is the kind of an individual who is actually comfortable in expressing himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so this person is comfortable in expressing themselves, and
Right.
they are good on empathy also. When I say
Right.
empathy, it means that I'm able to put myself in other person's shoes and
Mm-hmm.
understand the other person. Because I'm an expressive person, I also know how it is. uh, I have a better understanding of how it feels, and then I'm also able to understand the other person. So usually, we say that the person who is vertical slant, he's a logical person. Okay, they take their decisions based on logic, and these persons take their decisions based on their heart centered, basically. Okay, but also they use logic when it is necessary. So when I have to give a very simple example between these two people, so if I ask a person for loan, if they are vertical slant, then they are very doubtful.
Okay.
Does he really
Okay.
need? Is he really in help? Will he return it back to me? And this all the questions will run. Okay,
Okay.
but when I ask a person uh, with a slight right slant,
Right.
it doesn't mean that you can cheat them very easily, like,
Right.
but they are still careful, but they will understand. They will try to not embarrass you when you are asking them for help, so they are
Right.
like going to uh, give you enough space. They're
Right.
going to understand what problem you are going through, and then they will also use their logic. Is this
Right.
person trustworthy or not? Can I count on him that he will pay it back to me, and then I'm going to give the so this
Right.
is how we understand people, and that's how we say when you are talking to people. When you're talking to people, understand what kind of a person they are, and then deal with them in the choice of preference they have. Okay,
Right.
so that is the person who is the slight right. So
Okay.
that's the difference. So next one is the person who is the extreme right. Okay,
Okay.
so extreme right. This is a very rare case.
Uh-huh.
Okay, wherein it almost the writing, the letters are almost sleeping. This is a very rare case. We don't come across them often, but this is indicative of a person who's very demanding. You know,
Right.
uh, the kind of people, they always want to tell you what happened. Okay, even if they have missed the bus that day morning, they have to tell it to you before the start of the work.
Okay.
So even if you have something important about that, they're like, "Pehle suno meri baat, I'll get done
Right.
with this," and then okay. So these kind of a person, they can be a little emotionally draining to the other person because every time they have to get away with what they are being bothered
Right.
about. Okay, so the other
Right.
kind of Slant is the is this is the left slant. Again,
Okay.
this is also a rare thing, but
Mm-hmm.
that this is where it becomes a concern when the individual is a left slant. It is left slant. It means that the person is aloof, and it
Mm-hmm.
becomes much more of a something which can bother you, especially when it is found in
Right.
children, because we expect children to be spontaneous in the sense they're expressing themselves as and then which is happening. But nowadays, a lot of people, children are becoming withdrawn
Right.
for various reasons. They are not able to cope up with the situations or the challenges with the
Mm-hmm.
academic or anything they're going through, and then they become withdrawn. I think this is the first sign where we try to help students, parents to help their student teacher. I mean their children, and
Right.
obviously the teachers help the students. The
Right.
first sign is you see that they become withdrawn, so they are
Right.
no more interested in talking to you or doing the activities which they were interested earlier. So that is the left slant.
Right.
So this is very atypical, you find it very difficult. So how can
Right.
somebody even write like that?
Left
So this
slant.
is the
Yeah.
person who has basically stopped expressing themselves. Usually, so it's seen in a lot of adult individuals also. So especially, say for example, it can be very misguiding in the sense. Say for example, there's this instance where uh, a person was visiting somebody with the daughter-in-law, and then the therapist or the person who was analyzing handwriting told, okay, you have a lot of temper. And then the daughter-in-law said, no ways, he's such a very sweet man, he has never shouted on us. And then when he was asked about it, he said, yes, whenever I'm upset, I go to a park, I shout and come back. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, but because he's not expressive, the
Right.
family will not understand. So this is the
Exactly.
problem, where a person, when they are left slant,
Hmm.
the family is like, oh, I don't get it. I have been with
Right.
this man for 10 years, and then I still don't understand what is he
Right.
even made of. Because we, as human beings, we are changing every day. Like I
Right.
can wake up to be a little different person tomorrow morning because I learned something today, or some insight opened up, and then I like, oh wow, I learned this today and all that. So
Right.
thoda we keep changing every day, but if a person is so inexpressive, then it kind of gets difficult. I think that is where it also start the problems start also, because they are not expressing. And
Right.
then again, it gets worse than the vertical slant. Okay,
Hmm.
so this is the basic, and then once you identify, you can also start becoming an how you finding channels where you can open up in a comfortable manner, just like how
Right.
I was talking about the dairy writing.
Right.
Or you can join certain club where you just meet people on casual basis, so that you eventually will get comfortable on trusting the person to open up. So
Right.
obviously, though there are other traits also, whether a person is trusting other people or not, and how much, to what level they trust other people. Also, we have traits.
Right.
Obviously, if I get time, I will go through that today also. Let's
Sure.
finish these basic things. The second one is the size of the writing. Okay.
Sure. So, Divya, we have just 5 more minutes left before we have to start winding up.
That
So,
I'll
just
wind up
wanted to
by then.
let you know.
Okay.
Sure, sure. Take your
I'll go
time.
a bit quicker. Hmm?
Okay.
So when I say size, the size shows the concentration of an individual, how much of concentration you have, and the space between the words, that shows how your social index, like how are you comfortable with people and how much all that. So the size, there are three types. Small size, that is we say less than 3 mm, and also holistic, we say how much of space you occupied on a page. Based on that, we see the size also. And 3 to 6 mm as middle, and 6 mm and above is the big large writing. Okay. So the basically the small writer has large amount of concentration, and obviously if they have too much of spacing between words, then again the concentration comes down because the distraction is increasing over there. Okay, so that's how we see it in a very holistic perspective. So just because you're a small writer doesn't mean you have good concentration. If you have distraction, then that is this gets nullified. Okay, so this based on the concentration, you can also understand which kind of a jobs suit you. The small writer, they fit in as hardware, software, hardware testers, and accountants, and where they have to sit with themselves and do work. Okay, uh, so I told medium writers are the 3 to 6 mm. So these letters, that is the letter size. So these people have average
Right.
concentration, and people who are above 6 mm, they are the people who have very poor concentration, and
Okay.
then they usually fit in well in the sales kind of a job, where they have to meet a lot of people, and then because that is where they don't need a lot of concentration, they have to sit in one place and put in a lot of concentration. So these people fit in well in the sales category. So if you do a
Right.
mismatch, then until and unless the person is adaptable, it's going to be difficult. Okay,
Right.
so this is very briefly I have summed it up. And
Right.
then like I said, the spacing indicates that the more space around the words, then it means that they also allow people around them. The less space, it means that they are little conservative, that they are very choosy. Okay,
Right.
we go to the pressure of the writing.
Right.
Another very important
Sure.
thing. So the pressure of the writing is, you just have to get on the back side of the paper and then run your hand and then feel how much of pressure you can from the writing. Okay, so if you run your hand and then you can hardly feel anything, then that is low pressure. Low pressure means that uh, the pressure gives us indication about the emotional intensity of the individual, how intense are the person's emotions. Okay, so
Right.
the person is low pressure, that is nothing you can feel on the back, then these people don't hold on to anything for a long period of time. Okay, so I have a fight with somebody tomorrow morning, I'm fine. I will
Right.
just go, and if I meet them, and then I'll wish them again. Okay,
Right.
so this is how low pressure. Medium pressure is again average. Okay, so they will hold on to it for a period of time, and then they're eventually going to forget. Whereas if somebody is having high pressure, and these are the people who hold on to situations or fights or anything for a long period of time, that is, it's very difficult for them to forget and forgive. So they can also go to an extent of having grudge against an individual. Okay, they are like, okay, this person did this to me, I will show it back to them, I'll give it back to them, I'll teach them a lesson kind of a person. Okay, so usually people with heavy pressure are the very passionate kind of individuals. They have very strong likes and strong dislikes, and then they have also high energy. So the same applies to the other people also. Low pressure, then low energy. Average
Right.
pressure, average energy. And high pressure is
High
high
energy.
energy. So this is
I
how the
see.
basics of the handwriting analysis. And then I don't think we have time to get into the trade, so I will leave it there.
All right. No, what you actually covered today, Divya, that was so much in depth and so much in detail that I was actually for a in between thinking that, let me just go and grab a piece of paper and pen so that I can start doing it along with how you are trained, going through this entire three dimensions of the handwriting. And just for our viewers to revise again, and for myself also, so we talked about the angle. No, we talked about,
Yes,
what was that? The scale,
angle is the slant. Yeah,
the slant. Okay, so we talked about the slant, the size, and the third one was pressure.
sure. The
Right.
pressure of writing.
The pressure of writing, yeah. So I believe that I am going to now write down a paragraph or at least one page, and then rewatch this live again with your instructions that what does what means. Maybe sit down with a scale also and measure the sizes of the handwriting, because this was really really informative and you have covered so much. I'm sure it
Yeah.
is a there's a lot of science behind it, and we can all learn a lot from you, or maybe about ourselves from you. There is a question also about this. I think Sony asked, Sony Punjabi, how can I personally consult her and what are the charges? So I believe, Sony, you can get in touch with Divya
Yeah,
on Facebook directly. She
yeah.
is you can be found by as Divya M, right, on Facebook.
Divya M, or if you go Google me also, you'll find me. Divya's Happiness Hive. You'll find me all over. I have a Facebook personal ID and also a page I have. Divya's Happiness
Wonderful.
Hive. Yes.
Divya, another thing that we usually do and all our speakers do is after the live is over, they kind of go into the comments section and then reply to the comments. So if
Yeah,
you want to do that, that ways
definitely.
Sony and Divya, you'll get connected to each other. So please go ahead.
Yeah.
I have one question which is very interesting because I know a lot of people who face this problem. This is by Mubashir Aziz, and he's asking, what about the people with bad handwriting?
Oh, I know Mubashir. Hey, good to
Okay.
see him here. This is one particular question I really often get asked. Oh, my
Right.
handwriting is bad. You will never be able to analyze anything. So I always tell them the same thing. So I have nothing to do with the legibility of a writing. I'm only concerned about the traits of the writing. Okay, so this is nowhere a correlation is there that okay, if you have a good writing, you are a good person. If you have a bad writing, you are a bad person. There is no indication like that at all. So we have nothing to do with the legibility of the writing, irrespective of how it looks. Whether it's just an aesthetic value to it. Okay, there is no handwriting analysis value to it. Only aesthetic value. Okay, it looks good to my eyes or it doesn't look good to my eyes. But irrespective of however you've written, irrespective of however the legibility is, the angles don't change or the kind of particular trait which I am trying to see, that won't change. So whether you think you are writing good or not, I think it's a matter of perception. If you feel your handwriting is bad, it might actually appear very artistic to somebody. So that's how it is. So it has nothing to do with the personality of an individual. So again, one example I wanted to give, just because I was talking about how symbolic it is. Say for example, if you are trying to understand your listening skills, okay, we
Mm-hmm.
use the letter E. Okay, so you can. It's like see if you are. I will write it here.
Sure.
See, see if you have a well-defined loop like this, then you're a good listener.
Okay. All right.
See, that is how it is so symbolic. It means that you're
Right.
keeping your ear open. And see,
Right.
it also looks like your ear. Okay.
Ah.
But especially if your ear looks like this,
Right.
it almost looks like a C, then it is also symbolic that you're not a good listener and then you have to develop your listening skills.
Wow.
So that's how it is. It means that you're keeping your ears closed. So this is
Now
how I
I
was talking
know.
about how
Yeah. Now I
symbolic.
know why a couple of people don't listen very well. So
Yeah.
this is so amazing.
And
And
also
yes,
so
as
simple.
it is simple actually, and
Simple.
as
Yeah.
you said, symbolic also because it just looks like a year, so you
Exactly.
kind of can connect it with that. And Divya,
Yeah.
while this session was going on, I couple of viewers who know me personally, they have my WhatsApp number, so they sent me a picture of their handwriting. I'm going to just pull up one for you
Done.
because I'm
Yes.
getting a lot of please from everyone. So I'm just going to
Yeah.
open one on the screen and share my screen now.
Yeah.
So
I think
let
they've
me
taken the risk also, so we might as well do it for them.
yes. Let's see. Here it is. Yeah. Can you see this? Is it
Oh,
visible,
yeah.
Divya?
I think
Okay.
it's a child who is written. I don't know. My guess could be wrong, but I child has written
Yes. Yes. Kind of a child.
that.
So yeah, what are your views on this, and what means just maybe a couple of words or something that you could
Okay,
want
so
to
this
share?
person is very direct in their approach. They
Uh
don't
huh.
like beating around the bush. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so whatever it is, they will directly come to the point. They
Right.
want help from you. They're going to come and tell you, "Oh, Sonia, I want this from you." They are not
Right.
going to ask, "How are you? What did you do with your day?" and all that. They will not
Right.
waste your time with that. They will directly tell you, "Look, this is what I want from you. Can you give it to me?"
Right.
And also, when it comes to conversation, this person is somebody who is very honest. They
Uh-huh.
give you frank opinion. They are not
Right.
going to be very diplomatic and tell you something to impress you.
Okay. All right. Hmm.
Yes.
Interesting. and and I can see the E also over here.
Yeah. So he's not such a good listener. So usually the correlation is this, So if you're
Right.
a good listener, it also means that you're broad-minded
Right.
because you're open to others' ideas, values,
Right.
belief systems. Okay, so
Right.
the more narrow the E becomes, you become
Right.
close-minded because you're not
Hmm.
open to other person's. See, if I don't, you're telling me something, and if I'm not listening, I'm acting like I'm listening, and I'm not listening to you. I
Right.
might miss out on a new idea which you would have
Right.
offered to me. Okay, so this is how I'm becoming more narrow-minded. That's how it becomes a very important concept also. Apart
Correct.
from
Correct.
whether you're listening to me or not, it also becomes something very important which will open up your mind.
Great, great, great. I think thank you for doing this, and I hope they got their answer also, what they were
Yeah,
looking
because
for.
I've told this, I'll also tell them a simple trick. So if they want
Right,
to improve their listening skills, you have very simple technique. So this is
right.
also a part of something we call as a graphotherapy. I'm
Okay,
not much into it, but then there are particular strokes which I usually give people to practice.
okay.
So this is nothing but this is the one simple thing which you can keep doing. It's like doodling only.
Right,
So if
right.
you keep doing this free stroke,
Mm-hmm.
it will help you become a good listener. So obviously, we say, any
Right.
habit is formed in 21 days. So obviously,
Yes,
without fail, for 21 days, you have to do this,
right,
preferably in the morning when your mind is fresh, or before you sleep when the instructions you give to your mind is taken very seriously before you sleep. So
right.
if you practice this stroke, then that you can better your listening skill.
Right, right. That's wonderful, Divya. And the person is really happy. And suddenly my WhatsApp is now flooded with a lot of pictures. So sorry, guys, I won't be able to share all of them. But yes, you can get in touch with Divya directly and ask her and consult her. She is available on Facebook, and she will, after the session, will reach out to put comments also and reply to all of you. I have one question, although I have a couple of questions coming in from various people, but this question is very interesting, so I'll read that out. This is from Shraddha, and she's asking, I would like to know something about unhealthy writing pressure. Also, what does it indicate if the upstroke has a heavy pressure, then down pressure, and vice versa? Okay.
Okay, so usually we talk it in the terms of planning and execution.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if somebody is having heavy pressure on the upstroke, but it is not there in the low stroke, it means that they are forever planning, but they
Mm-hmm.
are not doing it in action. Okay, so that is
Okay.
what it is very indicative of that particular stroke, where the upstroke has a lot of heavy pressure, even in the downstroke. When I'm writing a y, okay, so when I'm writing a y, here full heavy pressure, here it will run without pressure, or
Right.
slightly any pressure it will be there while going
Right.
the while retracing the thing. So it
Right.
means that I'm doing a lot of planning, okay, but
Right.
I'm not putting it into action. So if you
Right.
are not doing it in action, you are definitely not going to see results, and then we always crib that life is unfair with me, I don't get what I deserve.
Oh my God. Okay. I am having a big smile on my face because Shraddha, you know why. So I think Divya just hit it on the what do you call it? on the nail, so she got
Yeah,
it
but maybe
absolutely
they can
right.
use that also, So these people,
Yeah,
the people can be strategic planners and have somebody who can help them in execution. If that's not their thing,
absolutely,
we're not
absolutely.
always meant to do everything, So I was because I'm a solopreneur, I operate the best happiness hive on my own. I always think, high time I should start outsourcing certain things because I am a good planner too. It's when
Right,
comes to execution, I do it in my comfort zone. Not everything I'm going to go and do it. So it
right.
applies to everybody. We have something to learn from it.
Absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of your personality. It's better to accept it and maybe see how you can evolve that also over the period of time. Very insightful, actually, Divya. This was really, really insightful. There's one more question that has come to me.
Yeah.
This is by Nidhi Yadav, and she's asking, could you please tell something on the size of alphabet? What if the size of the alphabet is too small and they are too closely written, mixed into each other? So I'll just read it out once again. What if the
Mm.
size of the alphabet is too small and they are too closely written, mixed into each other?
See, I already spoke about size because it's one of the basic trait. So we were talking about how if the size is small and then if they're closely spaced, then this person is high on concentration. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but in in another case where when we have other traits also supporting this, it also indicates anxiety in a particular people. See, just like
Right,
they are afraid to take space on the paper, they are also afraid to take space in situations. They don't
right,
be feel comfortable to show up or
right.
like take space around them. So this is
Mm-hmm.
where I'm telling it is to be seen only with caution, because we always check that when we have other combination traits include suggesting that.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, in plain terms, when we are talking about only the basic thing, then it is indicative of good concentration in an individual. Okay, so when we talk about the emotional repercussions, I think I didn't talk about it that time. See, people who are extremely focused, I told they have good concentration, it means that they are very focused. So people who are extremely focused, they will get too deep into things, so that is why
Mm-hmm.
they become lost in whatever is happening to them. Say for example, I have a certain problem bothering me at work, I will get so lost into it, I will not uh, understand that I need to balance other things out as well. I might also miss out on what is happening with people around me. Okay, my spouse, what is they up to, my what are my parents up to, what are my children up to, I will be lost in my own world. So we call them that they have a microscopic vision for life. That means
Mm-hmm.
how under the microscope everything looks big, that's how every problem looks exaggerated to this person. They're like, they
Right.
get overwhelmed with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also call it as horse vision. They're only इतना ही दिखता है, they're seeing only
Correct.
this much, so they're also able to not able to understand this vision I am missing out.
Right.
So there is also a 360-degree angle which I'm not focusing. So there is lot to it, because I
Wow.
think we had less time. I only stuck to the very basic, but every trait can give you a lot of explanation. So, like I said, when we go to the next level, concentration is the basic thing. When we go to the next level, it also shows that how they are dealing with the thing. Are they getting lost into it, or they are trying to navigate through it? Because
Right.
obviously person with the medium writing is more balanced
Right. Right.
than the person
Absolutely.
with the low size.
Superb, superb.
Yeah.
So we're getting such, and this was so insightful, Divya, and I think I can hear you for hours and hours. And there's so much information that you have, obviously, that we can all listen to you for
I'm so
hours.
glad
But
to read the comments also. Sorry to cut you.
yes, and Shalini said, very insightful session. Thanks, Divya. Sri Nagesh said, well done, Divya.
Thank
Shraddha
you.
said, thank you so much. And you kind of answered her question really well. So she related with it also. Kripa is saying, wow, Divya, this really helps. And even otherwise, also, we have been getting a lot of different comments. In when you were going through the session at that time, also people were loving the session, and we are getting a lot of likes from a lot of people. So beautiful session. I personally loved a lot. I am just going to grab some and try listen to this all over again and see how I'm doing on my handwriting and what it says about me. So wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, Divya. And all those who want to reach out to Divya for more information, please do. And Divya, please take time to reply to the comments so that you both people and audience and you can get connected. Yes, so thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you with us today on our Knowledge Happy Hour. Thank you.
Definitely, I was glad. Just like that, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, we have just dealt with the very basics. So even we have not even gone to how the traits work, So that is
Right,
a very interesting thing, which I do it as a workshop also to people, where I
right,
make them write, and then I'm talking all the same stuff what I'm talking now, and then I let them go through the experience of actually understanding themselves through what they're writing. So
right,
it's a huge thing, just like how we human beings are very complex. We have so much up to know about ourselves. I think handwriting analysis is also the same. It gives you
right.
more and more information. Sometimes I sit with a sample for 4 to 5 hours, and then we are talking and talking. So it's
Wow.
just wonderful to talk about something which I love so much. So thank you for the opportunity, Sonia. I loved being here.
It's a pleasure, and the positive comments are just flowing in, so it's just amazing. Kripa said the last bit was exactly my case, the microscopic level. And as you said, that we have just touched the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much more to learn. So, looking forward to your sessions, Divya, in future, and I'm certain that we will all learn more and get into the depth and of our own personalities with our handwriting. So, thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
So that was Divya with us talking about handwriting and how we can understand our personality and ourselves a little bit better. I hope you had a great, insightful session, and Divya shared so much with us. So that was this episode 7, season 2 of Knowledge Happy Hour. We will be back next Wednesday with a new speaker with new insights. So please stay tuned, and I'll see you all next Wednesday. Till then, stay safe, and all the people in Mumbai, please stay safe with the cyclone. Take care. Have a great evening. Bye,
Yeah,
Divya.
people,
Bye,
stay
everyone.
safe. Stay
Bye
safe.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.